Welcome to Chris Veve Journey, where I take you on a trip to Veve, always as an adventurer, never as a financial advisor, so please invest with caution. So today's video is a little bit late. I'm sorry I wasn't able to do a video last night, and I'm on German time, so that's a little bit different for you guys. So as you can hear, I'm a little bit sick still, so I have to take a sip from my nice Venom cup once in a while. So please bear with me while we go about the current news for Veve. That's just a small news actually, just about the next upcoming comic drop. I will talk about that a little bit more in detail, especially about Jack Kirby and the Marvel method. So I think that's quite interesting. I hope it's interesting. If it's not interesting, let me know in the comments later on. Just tell me, yeah, I don't want to hear all that stuff. Then I know that's no content I need to produce for you guys. Also wanted to tell you about my drop yesterday, which finally broke the wall. I finally got something else than a common. So let's talk first about the comic drop. So the comic drop was the usual one. I got 2 comic books, both were common. But one of those were actually just a 8,000 edition. So that is awesome. In my opinion, that is awesome, because if there's a 12,000 edition size, I usually get the 13,000 number. Yeah, so I was happy about that. And the other one was edition number 22K something, and I got that first, and as I saw it was a common, I sold it instantly and was able to sell it for 11.5 gems, which, yeah, looking at the prices now, was quite okay, I guess. And I wanted to have the money for the stamp drop. So the second and the 8,000 edition size was also a common, but I'm super fine with that. Like I said in my last video, I'm super fine. I just wanted the common, so I have a common, and I even made $2-3 extra, which is half of the cost of the stamps. So I'm fine. Well, perfect. Like, for me, that's kind of perfect. So, and with the stamps, I finally was able to get something else. I got 2 stamps, and one was uncommon, which is great. I already got an uncommon, not just a common. But it got even better. I also got the ultra rare. Yes, I got another ultra rare. It's so awesome. Yeah, in general, how much do I care about the stamps? Not much. The collector in me would rather have a lot of other ultra rares than the stamp. But I have to say, for the stamp art, yeah, I think that is actually a good investment. I don't think we will see them stagnate on these prices long term. Short term, yes, I guess we will even see those prices go down right before the Disney drops, but I will hold on to them. I might even, when the Disney drops, make sure that the rare and the common go down enough, I might even get those to get the complete set. I'm usually not much into sets. I'm not, I don't know, it's not a thing which I really pursue, but that is a rare case while I have the uncommon and the ultra rare already. And if the rare goes down in price, right now it's almost at 100 or even above 100, so that's a little bit much for me. So, but if it goes down, like if it really goes straight down, I think I will make sure that I will get the complete set, because that set is like the Star Trek set. It gets you 9.5 points each day, and since I think I will keep this long term, because I see there is even a lot of more growth in there, I'm pretty sure that ultra rare at some point will be twice as much, at least, not even more, because this is really important. It's the first new genre stamp art, and I think we will see a lot of stamp art in Veve. So yeah, I just think it's going to be very, very worthwhile to hold on to it for at least a year, 2 years, maybe more. Let's see. But so that's kind of an investment, I guess. But that's just, look, that's not financial advice. I told you before, this is entertainment, and I'm absolutely not a crypto guy. There's a lot of very educated people in the crypto space on YouTube, so listen to those guys, don't listen to me. But that's the strategy I will follow. And like I said, just super happy it worked out for once. Kind of, yeah, it would have been nice to be able to sell it right away, so that I have more money for the Disney drops. But yeah, I think selling it now, like that's my gut feeling. It tells me if I sell now, I will regret a lot so I'm just keeping on to those. So let's get to the browser view so I can show you the news from Veve. So that's the Eternals right here. That's the next comic drop on Thursday, 8 AM PT. Eternals 1, that's exactly the Eternals that you will see in the movie coming out from Marvel right now. Super interesting book, but the most interesting part here is that the Eternals are a product of Jack Kirby. So if you know Jack Kirby, great. I'm afraid there's a lot of people that have no idea who Jack Kirby is, while he is at least as important as Stan Lee in my opinion. But we'll come to that. First of all, let's talk about the covers. So the first cover is the regular cover of the comic book itself, done by Jack Kirby. That's a no-brainer for me. That's the book I will get, because I will always get the classic covers, the commons. They are pretty cheap, and owning them is just awesome. So on the left we see the black and white version with just the Eternal in front being blue. Is that an Eternal? I don't even think that's an Eternal. That's actually an I guess it's an Elemental, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it doesn't matter. That's going to be the uncommon. And then we have on the right side the black and white image. That's the design by Gérard Parel. I hope I'm not butchering his name. It's a French artist who actually lives here in Germany, in Berlin. So that's pretty cool. He's really talented and does a lot of work for Marvel and DC cover-wise. More for Marvel, but a lot of Marvel and DC both. He also does interior artwork, but I guess he's more known for his cover artwork. So that looks pretty great, and I think it's so fitting for the style of the book. In this case, I have to say, I think it's so fitting, it's so awesome that, yeah, I kind of want one of those, either the rare in black and white, or as we see on the far left, that's the colored version. Also looks awesome. I think the colors also bring the very classic look into the book, so that's also awesome. Like, they look both great, right? And on the far right we have the secret rare. That I guess is from a page from the book, inside page, where they just cut out this piece and put it in front of the cover. And because again it's Jack Kirby art, so I think it's awesome. Yeah, that's about the rarities. The book in real life, if you can buy this book for around $2,000 in CGC 9.8 condition, so very good condition. It's from 1976, so it's not as rare as much other books. But again, I mean, that book at one day when it was released, it cost 25 cents, and now it's over $2,000, around $2,000. So that's quite the enhancement in price. So, I mean, pretty awesome, right? So let's talk about the artist for the cover. That's Gérard Parel. So I told you what he did. So these are some of his covers he did. That's some of his cover art. And looking at the way he's working with the light, I really like how he's using light. But looking at the ultra rare here on the left, I think that's a different artist. I can't put my finger down who the color artist here is. I don't know. I almost think it looks a bit like Stephen Chang. Stephen Chang? Christian Chang? I guess it's Stephen Chang. So awesome artist, also working for Marvel and DC. Looks a little bit biased, but I'm not sure. I mean, the image is really small, so I can tell just from the colors right away. If those colors are from Parel, that would be great. That would mean he switched his style to make it really look like a Kirby piece. That would be awesome. Would make it even more special. But we have to wait and see for the full Medium article to see if he did the colors or if someone else did it. Yeah, and as you can see, great work. Like, the dude, he's really talented. I mean, it's not just talent, it's a lot of work also, right? It's not about being talented. So at this point I want to talk about Jack Kirby. So Jack Kirby is the artist who wrote the Eternals and also did the cover work. And he did something similar on DC. And at DC he created the Fourth World. You might know this guy right here. that is Dark Side. And yeah, that's what he did there. And those are, I think you can say, have a little similar tone. Maybe not even the similar theme, but a similar tone to it. And Jack Kirby is just so important. He sadly passed away in 1994 already. And he worked much with Stan Lee. And Stan Lee is always the one who's credited. So if you're not from the comic space and just more into pop culture or just know a little bit about comics, you will most likely know Stan Lee, and he always is credited like the guy who created the entire Marvel universe. Which is, if you know a bit more about comics, debatable. I'm not trying to get anything away from Stan Lee. He's awesome and he was so important to the comic book community. But I'd say he's so important because he was such a figure in the medium, and he was such a bright light in all media, in TV, in movies, and whatever. So that's where he worked for comics. That's what he did. He was a front man. He was making people interested in the comics, and he did create all those characters. I mean, right, like he did Spider-Man, Thor, Hulk, whatever. But he did create those characters with guys like Steve Ditko. That's the one who did co-created Spider-Man. And with Jack Kirby, they both created, I have to look at the list that I don't mix it up, but they both created the Fantastic Four, Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, the X-Men, the Silver Surfer, the Avengers, Doctor Doom, Galactus, Magneto, and so on and so forth. So that is awesome. So now, what you need to know is the Marvel method of writing. So not regular comics. Let's say you have a script. The script usually, if you do a script for comics, it would look like something where the writer would tell you, okay, this is page 1, panel 1. So panels are the images in a comic book. So page 1, panel 1, this and that happens, and this is what they say. And then page 1, panel 2, this is what happens, this is what they say. That is not as much fun for most artists. The more you tell the artist what to do, the less artistic freedom he has. So that's a little bit complicated, and you have to find a beat that you can work on together. I'm lucky that I can say that the writer I work with, Connor Craig, we kind of found a good idea to work together. But that's more the method he uses. So the Marvel method Stan Lee uses is quite different. It's almost working backwards, because the idea is he will tell Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko or whoever he worked with, look, in this issue it starts with this, in the middle I want to see this, and at the end that happens. And that is all the info they got. Maybe overall theme, whatever, but that's basically what they got. So the artist is actually the one who makes a story out of all of that, creates 20 to 30 pages, gives it back to Stan Lee, gives it back to Stan Lee, and he would then look for the dialogue. He would then make up conversations between the characters. So that's total different approach, and I mean, you can tell that's an approach where most of the ideas would come from the artist, not from the writer. So, and that's the thing where Stan Lee was credited a little bit much in the past. And it's not even Stan Lee's fault, I would say. I mean, it's not like he always talked very well about the artist. He always told anyone that they were as much as involved as himself. So I guess it was more or less the media, because he were functioning in the media so well that he got a lot of credit, and all those credit created opportunity. So he was financially well off, while not the same can be said about most of the other artists. Jack Kirby was a machine in creating comic art. He worked so much, and he could create pages so fast. Even nowadays, creators with a computer, they are not that fast. He did like 3 pages a day, and he just started in one corner and just drew down to the other corner of the page. At least that's what's being said about him, and that is just crazy. But if you look at his work, it also makes sense. Like we can look at his work. So here, Captain America, one cover. So he has a very distinct style. And if you look at other artists from the time, it's pretty different from all those other artists. And he was really thinking about design, what is important. I mean, all these splash pages, how much is happening on the page. If you look here, that like there's a lot going on this cover. You have Thor swinging the hammer, and he created those action lines that you can see the movement. Then you have these monsters in the back falling, and the way how they fall down. You have people being scared on the sidelines. There's a lot of info there. While he might as well just put down 2 characters. He could have drawn just Thor and one of those monsters, or just Thor with the hammer. That would have been a cool cover too, right? But he did get in, tried these different angles and perspectives. That's just awesome. Working with light later on a lot. That's X-Men #1, Strange Tales. Here's even the Eternals cover again. So Black Panther, Devil Dinosaur, all these things he worked on. Fantastic Four, yeah, that's also a Jack Kirby cover. So basically what I want to tell you guys is, if you see Jack Kirby on the app, it's a pretty safe bet to get one of those, right? At least to get the common book. Those are heavily sought after. I mean, I was always thinking about getting a Jack Kirby page. I haven't seen any page I could afford at this point. But yeah, that would be such a classic thing. I mean, like I told you guys in the last video, I'm such a huge Jim Lee fan, and it's so awesome that I own a quick sketch by Jim Lee, and that's my holy grail. But yeah, having a Jack Kirby artwork, an original, that would be amazing, beyond amazing. That would also be a grail, right? So that would be awesome. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about with you guys in general. We might get back to the just chatting. So I guess, as you can see on these books, because these books are just crazy good, see how special this book is. The action in this cover, the great design work on this space motorcycle, right? So these books are just crazy. He just does crazy stuff. It's so creative. And really, if you're an artist yourself, you can go to Jack Kirby artwork, and if you just started drawing, that stuff will look dated. I guess what I show you here for most of you guys will look dated a lot. But the more often you come back, if you have more experience in reading comics, in dissecting the art, or in drawing yourself, the more you go back to this, you start to realize how fantastic this was, how he already did things people would discover years later, and yeah, he was just far ahead. Awesome design work, so awesome. And these books are also pretty great because they are not old, but they look old. Like, they really use the paper they used back then, and yeah, that's awesome. I haven't read all of this. I actually just started, but it's awesome. So that's it for today. I hope you liked the episode. Let me know in the comments, really. Let me know if this is interesting, if I'm just rambling about stuff you don't care about, or if it's interesting enough for you, and if you see value in that you can later on use for investing, or even just for entertainment, just to say I'm entertained by this. It's interesting to know all this stuff, and it makes me more interested in the medium of comics. I would really like to know, and it gives me a good direction if I should continue creating this content, or if you'd rather have that I would be just talking 5-6 minutes about the current drop, why it might be going up in price and why not. If that's more interesting to you, I can do that. But I have to say, I love doing this stuff. So yeah, just let me know in the comments. Also, let me know, what did you get in the drops yesterday, and how excited are you about the Disney drops, right? Those will be special, I guess. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, and see you guys tomorrow.